Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Minister, and the officials for being here on the budget estimates. I noted in your opening remarks, and it'll probably be noticed on the West Coast, that there was little to no mention of West Coast fisheries in your opening remarks. Minister, Budget 2025 states that DFO is cutting research and monitoring activities, but you started canceling stock assessment activities for Pacific salmon well before Budget 2025 was announced. This is not good news for Pacific wild salmon because you cannot manage what you cannot measure. Why have you chosen to cut stock assessments for Pacific salmon?
I'm going to turn to the acting deputy to answer this, but I can tell you that the stock assessment of the BC salmon is incredibly important. So if you clarify that this is probably misinformation.
Thank you very much for the question through the chair. So the iconic importance of Pacific salmon cannot be understated, sir. And that is why we have the Pacific Salmon Strategy Initiative. There's a variety of methods in place, including scientific, but also habitat restoration on the ground, stock assessments, both the modeling and in-season runs in real time to determine the flows.
The budget has cut the stock assessments. Minister, if you need to cut frivolous spending at DFO, then so be it. But stock assessments for Pacific salmon are essential. Yesterday, 35 signatories from across BC sent you a letter urging you to revitalize stock assessments of wild Pacific salmon that is essential for the health of wild salmon stocks and the prosperity of fisheries and communities that depend on them. Minister, will you listen to the voices of the academics, conservationists, resource users, and the people of British Columbia and prioritize Pacific salmon stock assessments?
I will reassure you that science is incredibly important from coast to coast to coast. It was actually the Harper government that cut science. We are not cutting science in deputy.
Stock assessments that you are cutting in the budget. If you won't listen to these organizations, large group of organizations, who will you listen to?
It's you.
Thank you, Minister. I haven't seen the letter in question, sir, about the specific points raised, but we maintain the stock assessment in the Pacific region for Pacific salmon.
Well, on July 3rd, I wrote you to raise my concerns that DFO's failures to finalize contracts for stock assessments caused the cancellation of valuable sockeye stock assessments on the Fraser. On October 8th, 3 months later, you wrote back stating that Pacific salmon stock assessment projects were reassigned with implementation or more cost-efficient stock assessment methods. But the next day, your deputy minister told this committee that DFO did, in fact, fail to have stock assessment contracts signed on time. And she said, quote, "It had to do with the hiring process, but we did fix the problem," unquote. Minister, what was the true reason why salmon stock assessments in BC were canceled this year?
So I can have just been confirmed. They were not canceled. There was no cut to the stock assessments.
There were stock assessments that were not done. We heard that from the people that were supposed to be doing the contracts were not signed
to the acting
in time.
To the acting deputy.
No, the questions are to you, Minister.